Sup Shredders, my name is Logan aka Spiderhands and welcome to an SP Reviews where today we have ourselves a track by an act named Freddie B The Great, titled Recipe. And if we switch over to here, we have ourselves a track on the screen and we're going to listen through it from start till finish and we're going to hear what we think. Let's go, let's do it. Oh cool, I like the There's so much going on immediately. That's the recipe. Make it clap for me. That's the recipe. I mean, there's just so much going on with the vocals, the panning of them on the left and coming on both sides there. The activity of the vocals being the focal point, of course, makes sense. And that that kind of string synthy kind of thing going on in the background with a great sort of like kind of like an ominous nature to it is fantastic. Drop it low. That's the recipe. Great articulation and development of the hook section. Make it work, make it work, make it jiggle, I'm fucking with you, bounce for me, ooh wee, give me a show, pretty fine hoe, touch your toes, whoop, there it is, there you go, back it up, you got a lot of ass, you the show, I like the repeaters. I like the repeaters that they're using, you know, like there's a lot of space within the track with the main vocal parts and it's filled up by these repeats of these sort of main sort of like verse bits. It's cool. HBO, take it to the flow and make them titties roll. Strike a pose, murder she roll, case closed. Give me a show. Nice tight mixing of the 808s and the drum kit as well. Those kind of cicadas, kind of trill, kind of hi-hats there as well, which is good. I was like unsure of when I would expect the hook to transition into verse 2. And for it to come in then, it might have been nice to have had more of a kind of clear end to that hook at that point, but that's cool. I suppose it's dependent on being familiar with how the first hook ended. With no hands, I'm hypnotized by the way you dance. You know, lyrically, I mean. Dance for me, that's the recipe. Make it clap for me, dance for me, dance for me. That's the recipe. I know, back into the hook. That's the recipe. Make it clap for me. You the show. I mean, it's fairly easy to understand what the track is about, I suppose. No, we're repeating parts of the hook line in the second verse line. It's kind of an extension of it. And that's it. Bow, boom. But like an octave below that to kind of sizzle alongside the kicks. Okay, I get it. Okay, we've figured this one out, ladies and gents. So this is the conclusion of my review of the track Recipe by Freddie B The Great. What do I think this track is about? I think it's about someone wanting a woman to dance for them, you know, touch their toes, you know, getting it to clap, you know what I mean. I'm not sure if YouTube's super keen on me going too sort of in depth with that kind of stuff, but you know, if you know, you know. So yeah, definitely about the kind of sexual side of things, but also just making it a show that's a recipe for having a good time. So, you know, fairly easy to understand story. Sure, a lot of people will be able to relate to that. The vocals were charismatic. They were obviously like engaged and into it. The flow of the rapped vocals changed from like having dun da da kind of a swing kind of tension to it to da 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 da. I kind of got more on a straight 8th-ish kind of or 16th with the syllables. And I like the fact that we were more free flow with the wordings because it kind of sounded like we were just in the moment with them, watching them talk to someone about how they wanted them to do things. It kind of got you engaged, involved in their world. So that was great. I think it makes sense with the story. We were clearly excited for it, and the performance was polished vocally. I'm happy with that. I think that the motif you know, the track at 2.5 minutes is nice and short within that 2 to 4 minute sweet spot. And the motif behind it, or the main one, is just a 2-note string section with a 1-note bass line and a drum kit that comes in and out. It's really simple and easy to sort of vibe along with. It is nice to not have the drums the whole time. I'm glad we understood that having separate kind of separation between bits with the low end and without was a smart move. Having the hook come in with the 808s and the drum kit was great because, you know, you just didn't you didn't really have any like lag time or anything like that with the kind of dopamine rush. It was simply heavy, kind of hooked, which was nice and loud, and a little bit sort of misty sounding, but when we were kind of elaborating on more detail about what we wanted the person to do. So there was clear distinction between the verses and choruses. I think I made a comment when I was surprised when the hook section ended. It just kind of sounded like it ended randomly, but I think that's simply because I paused in an awkward part of the chorus. I can hear that we're doing these choruses or verse sections in groups of 8 bars or something like that, or 16 bars. Maybe probably closer to groups of 8s considering the 1, 2, 3, 4 tempo, but still. Nonetheless, you know, there was no filler in here, I don't think. You know, when I talked about repeating some of the hook lines inside the verse section, the second one, it's more just reiterating and emphasizing the situation there, so that's okay. I don't know if he would have gotten away with an extra verse or an extra chorus, but yeah, the motif itself outside of the strings, which got lots of tension in at mid-range, the tightly tuned drums and the 808 just kind of wallowing in that low end was like a sultry kind of exotic vibe, like you're about to get a lap dance or something like that. It was a very sort of sensual experience. But anyways, moving on, everything was nicely connected. The studio production, recording, mixing, and mastering is good. I'm happy with how it sounded. Clearly, we understand how to get the best sort of tones out of our voice, our drum kits, our basses, and our sort of synth string parts. We understand how to pan and automate stuff around the stereo field in different directions, which I think made the intro more interesting because he had vocals on one side only and then both, so that it's completed itself and kind of built as we went forward. So that was great, you know, that was cool, that was well done. And I think that in addition to that, things were nicely controlled in the frequency spectrum. There weren't any red resonances there. Things were nice and wide in the stereo. Should I say the frequency spectrum? Yeah, I did say the frequency spectrum. I think if I didn't, I meant that. In the stereo field, things were nice and wide there. Nice leveling with the various instruments in the mix there. Nice side chaining of the kicks and stuff to the 808s, so there wasn't any sort of like choking or anything there. And it was nice and loud without pumping. I mean, the studio production was really tight. I'm really impressed with it. And yeah, there was dynamic range, if I hadn't mentioned that already. There were changes in perceived loudness in part due to the re-entry of the low end and the hook lines, but just in general. And this is my review of Recipe by Freddie B The Great, and hopefully, you know, if you enjoyed this song, you'll go check out the various social medias. And I'm not sure where this has been put on, but I think it's on all major digital streaming platforms at this point, so go check that out on like Spotify, whatever else you watch, Apple Music, and stay cool and stay safe. Please remember to support your local musicians and artists at this point in time, as they need the help more than ever with all the crazy stuff going on in the world, and I'll catch you in the next review. Spiderhands out.